Well, hello everybody. Good evening, good day to all of you. Welcome to Ask Abhijit 88. It's great to see you all. Let's see who all is there. I can see Anamai, Abbasis, Sudhir, Chaudhary, Vicky Chahal, Rudra, Rajiv, Tamagna Biswas, VMS Gaming, Akhil, Debosman, Shashank, Komal, Lord Kars, Rudra Singh, Samudra, Amita, Akhil, Abhay, Suru, Zoro, Pratik, Ramesh, Pratyush, and so many other people. Good evening, good day to all of you. I hope you're doing well. I can see lots more people saying hi. Hi, everybody. Hi. It's great to see you all. It's great to see you all. So, as you know, today is a live video chat session, and for that, I'm going to have to post the link for joining. So let's do it. Let's do it now. Here is the link. I think you should be able to see it now. Let me pin it up. Yes, it is pinned. So the link is pinned. You guys can start joining. And there are certain rules that I have put in place. These are the rules. One question per person. Please keep your questions short and precise. And if you appeared on video chat yesterday, please do not join. I want new people to join today. If you joined yesterday, please don't try to join today. I mean, if you spoke to me yesterday, please don't join. I would like new people to join. And if I see people joining who have joined yesterday, I will have to remove them. So please understand that. And let me put this over here. There you go. So let's begin. Let's bring in somebody. Let's bring in Mr. Gihan Jain. Hello.
Sir, am I audible? Hello, sir.
Hi. Yes, you are audible. Where are you from?
Sir, I am from Rajasthan.
All right. What's your question, sir?
So my question is, sir, as it is said that Lord Buddha was the 9th avatar of Lord Vishnu, then why there is no proper mention of Lord Vishnu and his 8 avatars in Jatak tales, if Jatak tales are stories of his previous births, and how Jatak tales can even form if he was 9th avatar of Lord Vishnu?
I am not an expert in the Jatak tales and the avatars of Lord Vishnu. I am afraid I will not be able to answer your question. I mean, I don't have any expertise in this matter. Sorry, you have another question? I'll give you one more chance.
Yes, sir.
Something
Sir,
else?
that
Yeah.
in your previous video you have said that Tipu Sultan was very barbaric and was not a great ruler. Sir, just I wanted to know the reasons.
Because he committed so many atrocities. He destroyed so many temples. He killed so many people. He committed massacres. There is a community in I don't remember what is the name, but they don't celebrate Diwali even today because their ancestors were massacred on Diwali day. And there were so many churches and Christians that were destroyed. I mean, churches were destroyed. Christians were massacred. Christians were forcibly converted. I mean, if you look at the record of this person's career and you see the account of the atrocities that are in writing, you will understand that there is no other way to, no other description for such a person except for calling him a barbarian, a brutal monster. So that's it. What it is. You can look it up. All the records are available in the public domain, right? So that's why I
But
said
why,
that.
sir, he's still portrayed as a hero in our textbooks?
Because our historians have a certain agenda to make young people like you think that our oppressors were the heroes and our heroes were actually primitive, barbaric, useless, weak, losers. They want to inculcate a defeatist mentality in Indians so that they can keep following the West and stay colonized. So that's what is the reason. All right.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, sir. Nice meeting you. Bye. Okay. Let us bring in somebody else. Let's bring in Mr. Udit. Hello.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir.
Did you read the rules, sir?
Oh, sorry, sir. So then
Please,
I'll leave.
please
Sir.
don't
It's okay,
do
it's
that.
okay, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I didn't read them.
Okay, let's bring in somebody else. Let's bring in Mr. Ashu. Hello. I can't hear you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hi, I can hear you now. Yes, sir. Where
I
are you
am a
from,
big
sir?
fan of yours. I am big fan of yours.
Thank you so
Sir,
much. Thank you so much.
sir,
Where are you
I'm
from?
from Bihar, sir. Darbhanga.
Very nice, very
Sir,
nice. What's your question,
sir,
sir?
right now I am staying inside Gurgaon.
Okay,
Sir,
okay,
my
great.
sir, my question is, sir, according to you, who is the most influential scientist of all time? And
Mhm.
is it Newton or is it Einstein? And why, sir? And sir, as you are also a physicist, so according to you, who has done the tremendous job in the field of physics, according to you, and who is the biggest inspiration in your life as a physicist? So you can tell that.
Right, right. Okay, good question. So it's impossible to pinpoint just one person as the greatest of all time. If you, I would say that every century there is one or two people. There are one or two people who are the greatest. So if you look at the 20th century, 20th century, I would say it's most likely people like Isaac Newton, uh, and the people who develop quantum mechanics, Schrodinger, Heisenberg, Niels Bohr, and so on and so forth. They all collectively have a huge contribution. Among those, head and shoulders above them is Albert Einstein, obviously. And in the previous century, in the 19th century, most likely it's James Clerk Maxwell, the person who, the physicist who gave us the laws of electromagnetism, the Maxwell equations, and so on. So I would not, I don't see any one person as the greatest of all time. I think in any given period of time, there are one or two individuals who are really, really among the greatest of all time. And most likely, I would say that Newton, I don't consider him to be that great because, see, he is given the credit of developing calculus, but we know that that was all brought in from India. The knowledge of calculus was present in India at least 100 years before Newton was born, and all of that was transmitted to the West via the Arabs. So I do not consider him to be that great. Of course, he built upon the knowledge that was acquired from the Indians and so on. So he's one of the greats. And he himself said cryptically that if I have achieved some great things, it's because I am standing on the shoulder of giants. That's what he said. We don't know which giants he was referring to, most likely ancient Indians. So that's what I would say. And as far as I'm concerned, my greatest inspiration, well, I am not inspired by any one person. I'm inspired by all the great physicists, all the great scientists who have come before, not only physicists, even other sciences and all that, and other scholars, other great people. So I don't have any one person I worship. I don't believe in hero worship and all, and neither should anybody. Look at everybody, and if you really seek heroes or idols, you should have a bunch of people from whom you can be inspired for certain qualities. So let's say you have certain scientists in which certain qualities appeal to you, then certain leaders or kings in which certain qualities appeal to you, certain business people whose certain qualities appeal to you. That's the sort of thing you should have. You should not hero worship one or two people. That is a little bit counterproductive in my opinion. All right, sir, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So
Thank
I
you.
love very much talking to you, sir.
Very
Good
nice
night, sir.
meeting you. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
sir.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay. Mm, let's bring in Monica Bhatt. Good evening, ma'am. Can't hear you.
Good evening, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
So nice to be here, sir. I'm a great fan of yours, and both of
Thank
my
you so
children
much.
are
Thank you.
also great fan of yours, sir. It's a pleasure to be here. So my
Where
question
are you
is
from, ma'am?
like,
Where are you from?
I belong to Uttarakhand.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
but I'm
Yes.
based in Delhi. I belong to Uttarakhand. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, sir. My question is like, uh, in past few years that I have, what I've seen is the worship of Sai Baba has increased to, it has crossed the limits, and everywhere it means so many people are following Sai Baba. So I just wanted to know the history because as far as our Vedas and all scriptures are concerned, I did not get any reference from there. So just can you please guide me? Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. So, yeah, sure, sure. Very good question. I believe there are two, three people who have been given this term this title of Sai Baba, right? There was this one gentleman from Shirdi in I think Maharashtra, right? Who is called Sai Baba, and there was another gentleman from the south of India, the guy with the big hair,
Yeah, yeah.
who was also called Sai Baba. So, and obviously these are people who lived recently, very recently, 19th and 20th century. So obviously there will be no mention of these people in the Vedas. Firstly, so the thing is this: in any polytheistic culture, And ours, Hinduism, what we call Hinduism now, is a polytheistic belief system, which says that there is divinity, there is the presence of God in every individual, even in animals, even in plants, and all that. And some people, if they develop themselves, they have more of it. Some people have less. So it is believed that some people become avatars of Vishnu because of the great things they did. Right? They are called avatars of Vishnu, for instance. And similarly, some people, because of special qualities, they are regarded as kind of gods by certain sections of society. And I believe that's what happened with Shirdi Sai Baba and the other Sai Baba. I am not an expert in their life and career and all that, so I don't know how true or not true it would be that they were so great. Oh, I have not studied their life, and I am not very much aware of their history. So I think it is up to individual people what they want to believe. If they feel that some person has some extra divinity in them, they can worship them. I would say we should worship the gods of our Vedas, of our scriptures, and all that. That's my personal opinion. But if somebody wants to differ from that opinion, they have the right to do that. I am not going to tell them what to do. But that's my personal opinion. So I don't know about these two gentlemen who were called Sai Baba. I don't know how great they were, what their achievements were. That is simply something I don't have the knowledge of. So that's all I can say about this.
Thank you so much, sir. Means finally, it's like individual belief system. Means if
Yes, yes,
anybody
yes.
finds, okay, okay, fine, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Nice meeting you, man. Nice meeting you. Thank you.
Nice meeting you, sir. Thank you. Same here, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, let's bring in somebody. Let's bring in Mr. Shamant. Hello.
Hello, sir. Namaste, sir.
Hi. Namaste, namaste. Where are you from, sir?
Sir, I am from Bengaluru.
All right.
Okay, so first of all, I'd
Yes, sir.
like to
What's your
thank
question?
you. Yeah,
Yes.
I'd like to thank you. We are very lucky to have you.
Thank you so
Okay,
much. Thank
so
you.
my question is, we all know about ancient India. India was prosperous. So, but in last 1,000 years, we know what has happened. So at present, we can see people are mentally colonized, all such things. So culture, my question is about culture. So culture is something like people say it's not required, something like that. So can you please tell me the importance of Indian culture and how we can decolonize the Indian minds? So like
Right.
people rejecting Indian culture are considered more Indian, like it's somewhat unnecessary. People say like that. So this is my question, sir.
Yes, yes. It's a very, very good question, very valid point. That today, in today's society, if you reject Indian culture, if you denigrate Indian culture, if you make fun of it, then you are considered to be more advanced and more modern and all that nonsense. The thing is this: what is the importance of culture in any society? Culture gives you a set of principles and moral values that you need to follow, that you can follow or you should follow in order to live a fruitful, productive, and useful life, not just for yourself but for the whole of society. So every society, every civilization has a certain set of moral values that it believes in. These are the core fundamental moral values and principles. For instance, in India we say that ahimsa paramo dharma satyamev jayate and all that all of that, right? So we have this emphasis on speaking the truth. We have an emphasis on being good, not hurting other people, and we believe in non-violence. But we also believe that we have to establish non-violence. If there is violence against us, we have to destroy it and defeat it, and so on and so forth. So every society, every culture has a set of moral values and principles. If you give up, if you abandon culture, then you are suddenly rootless and you're adrift. Then you will have to come up with a set of principles of your own. And for most people, it is very difficult to do that. You know, everybody needs some kind of anchoring in which they can fro- that serves as a moral and ethical reference point for their life. Everybody needs that. And if you give up your culture, give up whatever values your society has, then you become morally adrift, and that's why people go into doing crimes and indulging in behaviors that are harmful for themselves, like smoking, drugs, alcoholism, and whatnot, right? So if you give up culture, that's what happens. It doesn't only apply to India, it applies to the West. The West, for the past 1000 years plus, was practicing various forms of Christianity. Now there is a certain moral structure in that. There is a certain set of principles that is definitely part of Christianity. Now what you're seeing in the US and in Europe, etc., they are abandoning Christianity because they are now beginning to see what is all truly about, whatever the reason, but they are abandoning it. And now, because of that, the society is morally adrift. They don't have a set of values and principles to anchor themselves to. And that's why you're seeing all these one parent families. You see this very high rate of divorce. You see so many so many such problems. There is drug abuse, there is crime and all that. So that's what happens when you abandon not religion but culture. Religion and culture are separate things. I mean, they could be
Yes.
together, but they are also separate. You can have culture without religion too. I mean, you can be an atheist, but you can still follow the principles of your culture. So today, what's happening in India is that there is this concerted effort to demean and eradicate Hinduism from India. And not just Hinduism, all dharmic, the entire dharmic structure is, there is this very strong effort that is being made right now to destroy it, to eradicate it from India. And the media is part of it. I'm not saying all of the media, but a significant portion of the media, a significant portion of the entertainment industry is engaged in this effort, and almost all of the academia is also engaged in this effort. All our textbooks, everything, all our the constitution, the laws, everything. So what happens is that because of this, youngsters are being raised rootless. They are not grounded in their own culture, and as a result, they feel that Indian culture is backward, misogynistic, blah 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 blah. And because of that, they are trying to ape the West. And we know what's happening in the West. It is already rootless. There is so much promiscuity, there is all the crime, there is drug abuse and whatnot is there, right? All of that. So that's now what Indians are trying to emulate. Because of mental colonization, they think the West is superior, the West is better. They think, oh, if somebody has white skin, they are superior to us and we should just blindly follow what they're doing. And that is dragging India down. So that's the reason why these people are doing it, in order to keep India colonized, because there is money flowing into India for precisely this particular effort. So that's why it's happening. And what needs to be done is we need to somehow find ways to uh, revive our culture, educate especially the children in what is right, what is wrong, and what their culture is, and so on. That this needs to be a long-term concerted effort, and hopefully the government which we are electing and to whom we are paying taxes will someday wake up and do something about this. But if the government is not doing it, the people need to wake up, and they should also stick together, work together, and try to revive Indian culture. That's what I can say.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good question, sir. Nice meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. Bye. All right. I have Banuji. Did you read the rules, sir? Why are you here? I have clearly mentioned that.
Sir, I
that
not
if
joined
you,
yesterday.
oh, you did not join yesterday. Yes, you found the loophole in the rules. Perfect. Chaliye, boliye. What's your question?
Sir, why,
You are very smart, sir.
sir, why in Bollywood Jahangir was shown as a chocolate boy and a very romantic character, even though he was very high and ruthless. He
Yeah.
also killed Arjun Devji, who was Sikh's guru.
Yeah, okay, good question, Bhanu. Like I mentioned just now, Bollywood, the entire entertainment industry is engaged in a concerted effort to distort, demean Indian culture and history. They always portray Indian history in a certain specific way, distorted way. They portray the oppressors as our saviors, and they portray our culture as inferior, our heroes as losers. Right? They are engaged in this concerted effort for several decades in doing this. And they no longer represent Indian culture correctly. They are no longer representatives of Indian culture, and they are engaged in distorting everything. So that's the reason they do it, right? And there is foreign. I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming there must be some foreign funding flowing into these people. At least some of them. Some of them, I think that's also come in the media and all that. So it's not something controversial that I'm saying. So some of them may have some foreign influences because of which they're doing this. So the entire effort, not only of Bollywood or some parts of Bollywood, but of certain parts of the media, of the entire academic system, about government policies, everything is to demean Indian culture, distort Indian history, and portray our oppressors as our great saviors and our heroes as the great losers. It's very simple. So that's why it's happening, sir. Okay.
Thank you, sir. I will not join for next 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you so much. It's always nice to see you anyway. Good questions,
Thank
as
you,
always.
sir. Have a glad day.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Yes, yes, he was right. He did not break the rules. Okay, let's bring in Mr. Suraj. Hello.
Hi, sir. I can't believe
Hi.
it that, I came in conference with you. So it's like
Well,
a
here you
big.
are, sir. Here you are.
I posted recently on Facebook about you a lot. So it means a
Oh,
lot to
thank you
me.
so much. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
So, sir,
Where are you from?
I'm from Mumbai itself, and my
Okay.
native is Kerala.
Where?
Kerala.
Kerala, Kerala. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Nice to meet you, sir. What's your question?
Same. So my question is related to kind of science and mystery. So
Hmm.
basically, I wanted to know that in science, we are quite well aware that energy can neither be created nor it can be destroyed. It can only be transferred from one form to another. So my question is that life is energy, and once you die, the energy is released. So it is not a destruction of energy, but why can't we prove that there is life after death, or that energy is being transferred to some other form?
Okay. See, the thing is this: we don't have a scientific definition of life, and we don't have a clear, specific, unambiguous definition of what is life. So, life seems to be a biological phenomenon, right? We know what is life. When we see
Right.
it, we know whether something is alive or
Correct.
it is not alive, whether something is a living thing or a non living thing. We know it. And we also
Okay.
know when an animal dies or a person dies. I mean, we can see that this person is no longer alive.
Right.
So
Right.
we can see it, we can sense it, but we don't have a scientific definition, clear scientific definition. Because somebody who has died, whose heart has stopped, it can possibly be revived within a certain time. And even a person whose heart has stopped for like 10 minutes, their brain activity may be going on. So what is the definition? What is the dividing line between life and death? That's the first thing. Secondly, uh, so is life about your brain's consciousness? Is it about the beating of your heart? What exactly it is? We don't have a definition. There is no
Okay.
consensus of that. And
Mm.
so we have this physical body, and in this body there are various chemicals and various substances, etc. And there is a certain process that goes on continuously, a bunch of chemical reactions and whatnot, which constitutes, all of that constitutes life. Now, is that, it is matter, it is matter, right? This is all matter.
Right.
It's not electricity, it is not
Correct.
energy. According to E equals mc squared in quantum physics, we know that matter and energy are equivalent, they are interchangeable, etc. But
Right.
what we have is matter. We have electrical impulses going on inside,
Right.
electrochemical impulses and all, right? So once somebody dies, what happens? The body is the same, but certain processes have stopped.
Stop.
Certain biochemical processes have stopped, which has ended the living form of the body, and it's no longer a living form. Now, which energy is lost? Do we know if any kind of energy is lost? Do we have any evidence of that? That's the question, right? Science is
Mm.
all about
Right.
measurable evidence, observable evidence, and observable phenomena. We observe that the breathing stops, the heartbeat stops, the beating of the heart stops, maybe the brain activity stops. So at a certain time, we are 100% sure that this person is no longer alive. But did
Okay.
any energy disappear somewhere? We don't know, right? We cannot measure that.
Right. Right.
And there doesn't seem to be any loss of energy instantaneously or any such
Okay.
thing. So the problem is that we are not able to observe any such phenomenon, that this is some X amount of energy in whatever joules has been removed from the body and it has gone somewhere else. We don't ever observe that. I'm not saying it may not be the case,
Right.
but
Right.
within
Right.
the limitations of science and our observational powers and instruments, we are not able to see that. And science is
Okay.
about these limitations. We have very hard limitations that we have to follow. Otherwise, we are no longer doing science, we are doing something else. So
Okay.
that's why we cannot say for sure that such a thing happens
So we know
from the
that
limits of
kinetic
science.
sorry, so we know that kinetic is getting converted into potential energy, but we don't know how quickly we can revive it back to a kinetic energy after that.
I don't know which kinetic or potential energy is in your body. There is
Okay.
electrochemical energy and
Okay.
all kinds of other forms of energy. It's not kinetic energy is Newtonian physics. You drop a ball, it's kinetic, and if it is high, it is potential, and so on. That
Right.
is
Right.
a simple Newtonian physics. In the body, you have electrochemistry and a lot of
Okay.
biochemistry and much more. So it's
Okay.
not as simple as
But
it seems to be. It's
seems
very
to be
complex, and we don't know what is
right.
the dividing line.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good question, sir. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Who do we have? Let's bring in Mr. Robin. Hello.
No, hi
Hi.
sir. Namaste.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm
Robin.
Robin
Hi. Where are you
from
from, sir?
Banaras.
Where are you from?
Yes,
All
I'm
right.
from
All right.
Banaras. I'm currently living in like Europe. Yeah,
Mhm.
studying here. So I have a simple question. Like
Sure.
after living here for 3 or 4 years, we have seen like when Indians meet, they usually don't like interact so much. Like namaste, hi. Like we have seen in like these African people, basically they have in so much manner like they are very like interactive. But Indians don't like. Even North Indian, they don't like interact so much. So is there any like cultural thing or why this Indian is like so much not in interactive or like making it feel like we are Indians, we are brothers. Unlike like European or even these African, they are very brother type. Brotherhood is there. Yeah.
Very, very interesting observation you have made, and I agree with you. I think who was that guy? There's this very famous comedian, Russell Peters. He says that Indians, when they're abroad, they hate each other. They don't want to meet each other. There is this attitude. I think it is because of a certain inferiority complex that Indians have. That when they go abroad, when most Indians go and settle abroad or live abroad for some time, they try to pretend that they are foreigners. They try to give up their Indian identity. They put on this fake accent, these fake mannerisms and all. And when they see another Indian, they want to stay away. Otherwise, we'll have to speak in the Indian accent again and all that. I think that is the thing, because I have also been abroad. I've seen this with my own eyes. Indians like to avoid other Indians that they don't know. But otherwise, Indians also have this other interesting phenomenon that when Indians live abroad, they will all, if they know each other, let's say there are like 7 Indians working for a single company, for the same company, then they will all have their houses next to each other and they will only mingle with each other also. That is also there. And you will see these temporary workers who go to the US for 3 months, 6 months. They will all live 5, 6 guys in one house and try to minimize the cost and all that. So there are these interesting sociological phenomena that you see with Indians living abroad. But what you specifically mentioned, that Indians try to avoid each other and all that if they don't know each other, that may be because the Indians try to become Western and try to pretend like they're foreigners. They try to put on this fake accent and all that. So that may be the case. It's complex, but what your observation is indeed correct. So that's what I can guess why they may be behaving this way, possibly.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, nice meeting you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, let's bring in. Whom shall I bring in? Let's bring in Mr. Samudra. Hello.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Uh,
Can you hear me, sir?
Not very clear. Hello.
Can I continue?
I'm sorry, your voice is not clear at all, unfortunately. Okay, let's bring you in at some other time. Let's bring in somebody else. Let's bring in. Whom shall I bring? Abhishek. Hello.
Hello, sir. Hope you're fine. Hello.
I am very well. I'm very well. How are you doing?
I'm good, sir. Sir, I have this
Where are you
question.
from?
So sir, I'm from Delhi, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
So the so-called Archaeological Survey of India, the founded in 18th century, is maintaining the Humayun's tomb very well. But I recently saw the Raja Chola's tomb decaying in some part of India, sir. Why, sir?
Yes. Excellent question. Very good question. Very good observation. What you will see, we have to go back to the origin and the history of the ASI to understand its attitude and its behavior. The ASI, I think it was started in the 19th century somewhere. Most likely, if I'm not mistaken, it was
1860s.
1860s. That is the 19th century.
Yes, sir.
That is the 19th century.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. So in the 1860s, like you say, most likely, yeah. So, and it was founded by the British foreign colonizers and occupiers of India. And the real reason for the founding of this institution was to go and search for various Indian antiquities, loot them and transfer them to the UK. If you look at the UK, if you look at the various museums in the UK, London Museum, etc., these are crime scenes. Everything is stolen from India. Enormous amounts of treasure and various carvings, statues, priceless treasures are stolen from India. They're all collected over there and displayed over there, and there is much more that is not displayed. It is all stored, and so much
Yes.
more is in the hands of private collectors. The individual, I don't remember his name, the person who founded the ASI, who was the first head of the ASI, he was himself a big thief of Indian antiquities. Much of what was discovered by the ASI and restored by the ASI was transferred to the UK, and it became his private property. So the ASI, its original mission was to seek out, was to find, seek out, and collect priceless Indian antiquities and transfer most of them to the UK. Now, today, they cannot do that to the UK. But what you will find is that there are so many of these ASI protected monuments, they will not allow you to go there and take a video. I wonder why they will not allow Indian citizens to go to those monuments and take videos unless you pay them a lot of money. But they will not take care of the monument, and you will find that so many temples, etc., that are under the ASI's so supposed protection, their murtis, their idols, and everything which is of value is all stolen. You will find so many Harappan era sites, Saraswati civilization era sites that are officially under ASI protection, and they are completely pillaged. And I can show you online so many artifacts from that era of our history are being sold online. There is a site called Vatican.com. Go there and see. So many Indus
I'll
Valley,
check.
Harappan, etc. sites are artifacts are for sale online over there. So the ASI is not doing anything because it was founded as an institution, as an organization whose only intention was to steal valuable artifacts from India. That was the beginning of the ASI. And I believe that over the years after 1947, there have been some some people in the ASI who have done really good work. So there have been a few archaeologists who have done really, really good work. I'm sure there are a few even today who are doing good work. But overall, the ASI is run by bureaucrats who have no interest in archaeology. They are just bureaucrats. And the attitudes, the colonial attitudes still persist, and the contempt for Indian culture and Indian heritage still continues. So they will focus on maintaining Turkic monuments, Mughal monuments, invader monuments,
Yes, sir. Yes,
and they
sir.
will just let every actual indigenous Indian cultural heritage just fall into disrepair and even be auctioned off online. So that's what's happening. I'm sure there are some good individuals in the ASI. I will not say that all of them are bad and all of them are like this, but overall, the attitude of the ASI is that of complete neglect. That's the best thing I can say about them, that they are neglecting
Yes,
our
sir.
heritage. I can say much worse about them, but I will say the best thing I can say is that they are neglecting our heritage. So what needs to happen? What needs to happen is that the ASI needs to be disbanded by the government.
Yes, sir.
Stop funding
Yes,
them,
sir.
disband them, and start a new institution that is comprised in which you only have professional archaeologists who are really well
Yes,
paid.
sir.
And we need to have
Yes,
one
sir.
world-class museum at least in every state in India. That's what needs to
Yes,
happen.
sir.
So that's what I can say, sir. Very good question.
Thank you, sir. You are inspiration, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Nice meeting you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Bye. All right. Whom shall we bring in? Let's bring in Shambhavi. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. Where are
Good
you
evening,
from?
ma'am. Where are you from? I'm from Kolkata.
Okay.
Okay,
Could you mute my
you mute
sound because
my sound because
it's echoing.
it's echoing. I'm unable to do that.
Okay. Let's hear your question. Go on.
Sir, can you hear me now? Yes, sir. So my question is that, as we all know, that Governor General Lord William Bentinck was the person who abolished the sati pratha. So my question is that what was the reason that he actually did that? Like, should we consider that as a favor towards us, or and what was the role of Raja Ram Mohan Roy in doing like behind this?
Okay, good question. I'm going to put you on mute. So, firstly, I'm going to answer your question for sure. It's a very good question. Firstly, what I would suggest is there is a conversation on this channel with Dr. Meenakshi Jain. She has gone into this in very good detail. So I would recommend that you and anybody else who wants to learn about this should see that conversation. It's about 1 hour long. Now, to answer your question, there was no such thing as sati pratha. Pratha means a tradition. A tradition like sati did not really exist. And you know what the British and the Europeans have said? They said they have portrayed this thing in this manner, that there was a compulsion in India for widows to be burned alive with their dead husbands. They were forced to be burned. This is how they are portrayed. And if you look at the records that they were maintaining, the first place the British colonized was Bengal, which is why Bengal is the most mentally colonized today. Not all, but to a large extent, I would just say that, I'm not generalizing, but you see that more there. So the first place they colonized was Bengal, and initially you will find that they were keeping records of what was happening in Bengal, and there was almost no mention whatsoever of the so-called practice of bride burning. Then the missionaries got involved, and then suddenly from zero, the number of cases per year started going beyond 10,000, 20,000, all of a sudden, by magic. Okay, and then Indian writers like Ram Mohan Roy and various other Bengali writers started writing about this great evil in Hindu society which needs to be reformed. And for generations they kept writing about it, and today Bengalis believe that this was a very deeply entrenched tradition in Bengal. But it's not the case. It's all lies, missionary lies, made up, fabricated lies. Okay. And the funny thing is this, that when this individual, William Bentinck, the so-called Lord William Bentinck, he came to India, and before he came to India, he had already announced his intention to abolish this practice. So he comes to India, issues the proclamation, puts his signature on that. And you know what's strange? His abolition of sati was so magically powerful that from the next day onwards, there was not a single case of sati in Bengal. It disappeared overnight. Until yesterday, you had 10,000, 20,000 cases per year. And from today onwards, there are zero cases. Magic. The greatest reformer of all time, William Bentinck. These are all lies. But the problem is that we are taught all of this as fact in our textbooks. And all of our people, they believe that Bengal and in India, you had this horrific tradition of forcibly burning women alive when their husbands died. It is a lie. It was this practice, you will find a few instances over the centuries. So if you look at the conversation with Dr. Meenakshi Jain, she will mention that there have been a few instances. In all of the cases, when a woman decided to do this, she would be dissuaded by her friends, by her family, by her brothers, sisters, everybody. They would plead with her, please don't do this. There are so many records of this. And eventually, if she decided, it was her choice, nobody would stop her. But it was always the woman's choice. And there have been only a few instances of this happening. Typically, it happened more in Rajasthan, among the Rajputs, among the royal families of the Rajputs. And the Johar tradition was totally different from that. It was like they had no option. That it was better to burn yourself alive and destroy your body than to even let your dead body fall in the hands of the Turks. Right. So that's how it was. The role of Ram Mohan Roy, I mean, I do not want to go much deeper into it because it will start another hue and cry. But what I can say is that this is all a lie. William Bentinck was not a magician. The practice was not there at all. Right? That's what I can say.
All right, sir.
All right.
It's always a pleasure meeting you, sir.
Nice meeting you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. Okay. Whom shall I bring in? Let's bring in Mr. Rahul. Hello.
Hi, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, sir.
Yeah. So I'm from MP. I'm from MP. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So my question was, actually, I am a Sindhi. So my question was that, like Sindh as a geographical location, it was like very hard hit when the Turkic invaders or Islamic invaders came in. So
Yes.
And it is believed to be like at that time when the Islamic invasions were happening, and so like they converted and brutally like murdered and converted at least 80% of people were converted to Islam, and maybe 20% were left. So like Jhulelal, as like it is somewhere it is considered to be like he's a avatar of Vishnuji. So and the Sindhi language. So do you think that the Sindhi language was prevalent at the time of Harappan or Indus or Saraswati civilization, or it came in much later? And your thoughts on the Sindhi people?
My thoughts on the Sindhi people is that they are one of the peoples of India. The Sindhi people are Indians. I mean, today many Sindhis are in Pakistan. It's a temporary phenomenon. We will reintegrate them when the time is right. Sindhis are as Indian as anybody else. Bengalis, Gujaratis, Marwaris, Manipuris, Bengalis, anybody else, right? So about the geographical location of Sindh, it is to the western part of India, for sure. That's why it was easier. I mean, it was one of the first parts of India to bear the brunt of the Turkic and first the Arabic invasions and the Turkic invasions, which came subsequently. So I think it is believed that there was this individual called Mohammed bin Qasim, who was the first among the Arabs to try and to attempt invading India, and there was some amount of success, I believe, in Sindh. Raja Dahir got involved in one of these invasions, and I believe he died, and there was some terrible atrocities. So yes, because of the location, geographical location, Sindh is to the western part of India. The westernmost part of India historically has been Balochistan, the border of India and Persia, and then you had Sindh. So Sindh always bore the brunt. Sindh, Afghanistan, Gandhar, and these western regions bore the brunt of the Turkic and other invasions the most, and they were the first regions to fall to the invaders. Yes, so yeah, that's what happened. And like you mentioned, over time, all the people got converted to the foreign religion, and that's what we witness today. So the demographics have changed. The religious demographics are very different today than what they have historically been. So that's what I can say now about the Sindhi language. It is one of the newer descendants of Prakrit languages. So the oldest, if you go back 2,000 years, 2,500 years, the classical age of India, at that time, the main language, civilizational language, and the overall language that was spoken everywhere was classical Sanskrit or Paninian Sanskrit. So that was the main language spoken everywhere. And eventually, what happened is that in different parts of India, the language evolved, and it kind of got mildly corrupted. It's called upabranch, the process of upabranch, which means that the language evolves and changes, and the words kind of undergo some kind of change. So that gave rise to a bunch of new languages, which were all daughter languages of Sanskrit. These are called the Prakrits. These are the Prakrit languages. And from the Prakrits, there came newer languages. It's always a continuing process. And from that, you got like languages like old Gujarati, which gave rise to Marwari, Mewari, Gujarati that is spoken today.
And there is
old
a very similarity in Gujarati and Rajasthani and Sindhi also. There is a similarity there.
Yes, of course, because the reason for that is that these are all geographically contiguous regions. These are all neighboring states. The people are more or less similar. The people, their origins are more or less similar, and the languages will obviously be very similar. So if you look at Gujarati, if you look at Rajasthan, or the Marwari, Mewari, even if you look at Sindhi, or even if you look at Balochi, these are very similar languages. Even Balochi is very similar to Sindhi and Gujarati and Mewari, Marwari, etc. So that's how it happens. Language evolves over time. Even if you look at the old Persian language that was spoken during the so-called Avestan or Achaemenid times in Persia, that itself was an upper branch language of Sanskrit. It was a descendant language of Sanskrit. So this entire region, from India to the Middle East, was actually one geo-ethnic continuum. The same people in different places, and their languages evolved differently. So Sindhi, just like the other languages of India, is one of those newer evolved languages. It must have emerged sometime in the past 1,000 years from an older language, which is the mother language of Sindhi. And eventually, if you go back in time, you will arrive at Sanskrit. So that's how it went.
Thank you, sir.
All right, sir. Nice meeting you, sir. Thank you. Good question. Thank you. All right. Let's. Whom shall I bring in? Let's bring in Mr. Sai Rakshit. Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am very well. How are you doing, sir?
I am very good, sir. So my question to you is related to history as well as current.
Where are you from?
I am from Tamil Nadu, Chennai.
Nice to meet you. Hello
Nice
to everybody in
sir.
Chennai.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So my question to you is related to history and current political science. Sir, that post-independence, when we framed our constitution, we have adopted secularism. It's a very good choice. I myself am secular. I respect everyone.
I'm
But sir, why was
I'm not.
Okay, sir. Like, it's my personal opinion.
Of course. I respect your opinion.
Yes, sir. But my opinion is, why was it chosen? Why was secularism chosen to govern an entire country like India? I mean, we okay, now we have our neighbors. Pakistan says proudly, yes, hum Islamic mulk hai. Bangladesh says, yes, hum bhi Islamic mulk hai. China says, we are strong atheists. We say we don't have any identity because we're secular. I mean, yes, Turkey is also secular. their people are secular. That's what I believe. Like I've heard that at personal level they're secular, but they recognize themselves as Islamic country. So why did our leaders choose secularism as a core concept to govern our country? Is it that our national leaders had some Hindu hatred, or
Good
like
good
they want
question.
to be
I get it.
pro-Muslim? This is what I want to
I,
know from you, sir.
you, sir, have asked a very good question. All right.
Thank you.
So congratulations on asking a very good question. Now let me answer that. Uh, so the people whom we regard as our founding fathers as our leaders, were not really our leaders. They did not represent India. They were not representative of the vast diversity of India. So the individuals, the group of individuals who formed the so-called Constituent Assembly of India, right? If you look at them, how did they make it to the Constituent Assembly? Was there an election from all the different parts of India, and each part of India elects one person to represent them in the Constituent Assembly? No, that did not happen. These people were drawn from an earlier election. I think it was the 1943 or something like that. 41 was it? One of these years. Look it up. It was one of these
1941.
elections from. Yes, yes, you're right, sir. So from that election, a large part of the Constituent Assembly was drawn. Now, this election, if you look at the details which are available, you will find that it represented only 13% of Indians. 13% of Indians. All right. So this was not a representative election of the people of India. And from that, you pull out a bunch of people, you put them in the Constituent Assembly. And a lot of the other people in the Constituent Assembly were nominated by the princely states, who were all puppets of the British. So what you find is that this so-called democratic process was not democratic at all. It was all people who were essentially beholden to the foreign occupiers of India. And all they did was to transform the 1935, one of the 1935 acts of the British, into a new framework, into a slightly different framework, and they called it the new Constitution of India. It is entirely European and Western in origin. There is nothing Indian in it. So how can it be the Constitution of India? Secondly, after they framed this so-called constitution, they put "we the people" blah 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 on the front page. Yes, but if you look at the way a democracy works, let's see how the Americans adopted their constitution. So their so-called founding fathers, they made the constitution. Then the constitution was put to a vote, and every adult white male in America was allowed to vote yes or no. Women were not allowed, of course, and blacks and Native Americans were not humans, so they were not allowed. But all adult white males were given the choice of accepting or rejecting the constitution. Now, in India, after these individuals drafted the constitution, they did not put it to a vote and ask the people of India, "Bhai, are you willing to accept this or not? Is it palatable to you, or do you find it is wrong?" This was never done. The constitution has till date not been ratified by the people of India, and therefore it does not represent the people of India. And that's why there are all these clauses that are so badly anti-Indian civilization, that even anybody who has any sense, if they actually examine the events in the constitution, they will realize how wrong it is. But what happens is that we are taught in our history textbooks and in our schools that this was a democratic process, and then the constitution is so large, 500 plus pages, that nobody has the time to read it. So we just say, "Ha, bhai, ho gaya, we have a constitution and we'll worship it." So that is the way the people of India have been duped. And that's why it is so very badly anti-Indian civilization and culture. So your point is very, very correct, that it's a personal choice whether you want to be secular or not. Secularism is a Western concept. What we believe in India for thousands of years is that every human being is equal. Everybody should get the same rights. We should respect diversity, plurality, other people's cultures or other people's traditions. We believe that. And you can call that secularism if you want. So that is something I also believe. We should respect everybody. You live in your country, you can practice your religion, your culture, but don't try to tell me what to do in my country. And similarly, I will not tell you what to do in your country. It should be like that. Mutual respect. But that's not how it works in Indian secularism. And that's why the outline that I just gave you, that's why it happened that way. That's why we are where we are.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Nice meeting you. Bye.
Nice meeting you, sir. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Okay. Let's bring in Mr. Bhushan. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you from?
Sir,
Where are
myself,
you from, sir?
Bhushan. I am from this
Mhm.
Maharashtra. Sir, I'm currently in Chennai.
Okay, very nice,
Sir,
very nice. Nice meeting you. What's your
Chennai.
question?
Sir, my question is that does the central government have enough power to free all the temples from the nation? If they have, why aren't they
Uh,
doing?
I believe the central government has the power to pass a law that says that the temple should be treated the way all other religious monuments of other communities are treated. Every other non-Hindu religious community is given the right to administer the temples in any way, in whatever way they want, according to their religious traditions or whatever it is. But Hindus are denied this right. I believe the central government has the power to. I'm going to mute you, sir. There's a lot of noise. I'm going to mute you. Okay. So I believe the central government has the power to pass a law that says that Hindu temples will be freed. And sir, I'm going to keep you muted because there's a lot of noise coming in. So
Yes, sir. Okay, it's fine, sir. It's okay. I got my answer. Thank you, sir.
you got it. Let me finish it
Yes,
anyway.
sir.
So what I'm saying is the central government has the power to do it. It is up to them whether they choose to do it or not. That's what I would say. So why are they not doing it? I think we should ask them because I don't have the answer. All right, sir. All right. Thank you. Nice
That's
meeting
it.
you.
No,
Okay, let's bring in Mr. Chaitanya. Hello.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. How are
Hi,
you?
where are you from? I'm very
I'm
well.
from
I'm very well.
I'm from Kolhapur, sir. Kolhapur, Maharashtra.
Hmm.
A lot
All
of people
right.
don't know, but this town is known as the Southern Kashi of India.
And the food is excellent, isn't it?
Yes, yes, excellent.
Okay, what's your question, sir?
So my question is, I will just read it out. In ancient times, there were many civilizations, and they had their respective religions and methods of practice,
Mhm.
like the Greeks, Romans, and ancient Egyptian civilization. And after the Abrahamic revolution in Middle East, only one civilization, that is this Vedic civilization of India, has continued to
Mhm.
exist. And we see there are people still performing yagyas, ahutis, and people practicing dhyana yoga. So, what are the reasons or specialities about this particular culture because of which this culture has survived?
Good question. Good question. Um, so, firstly, I would not agree. I mean, you did not say that, but many people say that Indian civilization has survived. I would say that Indian civilization stopped existing in 1947. In 1947, India officially became a secular socialist country and abandoned the principles and the values of Dharma. So, Indian civilization stopped existing at that point. So, we still have culture that people keep on practicing, but the state is Hindu phobic. It is anti culture and civilization. That's what it is. Now,
Exactly.
why did Indian culture survive thus far? It's because of India's enormous plurality. If you have a monochromatic, one dimensional population, the same ethnicity, same language, and the same practices, it is very easy to destroy it. But in India, there are so many different languages, there are so many manifestations of Indian culture, so many different gods and goddesses that everybody worships, which are all manifestations of the ultimate reality, and that's how it is perceived. And we have so many different traditions. If you go from district to district, you will find the food changing, the practices changing, the language changing, the dialect changing, the traditions changing, and yet it is all representative of the overarching umbrella of Indian civilization. That's why, because of this incredible diversity and plurality, the foreigners were not able to eradicate Indian culture. If you look at Persia, the Persians, the Parshva people, they were descendants of ancient Indians who had migrated to the west, to what is now called Persia. They were a uniform population. They were all the same ethnicity, small population, same ethnicity, same language, same practice. It was so easy. In 20, 30 years, the entire Zoroastrian culture was gone because of this uniformity. In India, the subcontinent is enormous. It is a subcontinent. It's not a country. It's a subcontinent, and there is so much diversity. So, because of this what we call the diversity, it ended up becoming India's strength, and that's why the foreigners were, despite their best efforts, they were not able to eradicate everything about Indian culture and civilization. So today it still persists, but today what's happened is that we have a monochromatic education system, a one-dimensional education system that is permeating the minds of every child. So today, after our so-called independence, we are seeing the rapid eradication and erosion of Indian culture and values. So that is the big threat today. But until now, we survived because that thing was not in place. So that's all I can say.
Thank you, sir. It was an honor.
Thank you so much. Nice meeting you, sir. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Mr. Sahas. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
How are you, sir?
I'm good, sir. How are you doing? Where are you from?
I'm from Uttar Pradesh, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Sir, the question I want to ask is, and I'm pretty sure many people at my age, college-going students, will relate to it. Sir, our teachers are a bunch of Anglophiles. They are just in love with the white skin, and they are so disconnected from the reality of this country. It's hilarious. So, sir, my question is that teaching is one such profession that you'll get a new wave of teachers at least after 10, 15 years. So, sir, will we just let our students get brainwashed by these people till then? Or is there any way out? So, yeah, that's my question, sir.
Hi. Sorry, I think there was some disconnection. Please repeat that, please.
Yes, sir. So I was saying that our teachers are Anglophiles. So, sir, my question is that teaching is one such profession where you'll get a new wave of teachers at least after 10, 15 years. So,
Yes.
will we just let our students get brainwashed by these people till then? Or is there any way out? So, yeah,
Very good question.
that
Very good question. So I would, yes. So what you have observed is correct. Most of our teachers, I would say, are I don't blame them for it. It's because their teachers taught them the same thing, and it's continuing. Yeah, yeah. This tradition is continuing generation after generation. So every generation of teachers brainwashes a new generation of kids, and many of them become teachers, and that tradition continues. Now, the thing is this: in the Indian education system, see, in any education system, in a good education system, the stakeholders should be the students. We are doing this for the students. The students have the rights and the privileges that are above everybody else. But in the Indian education system, the teachers and the staff are the stakeholders, and the students are just the victims or the hostages. So the ones who get the most rights and privileges is the teachers and the staff. They take priority and precedence about everything else. Imagine that a student misbehaves in school. What's going to happen? The school student will be expelled. Now imagine a teacher or staff misbehaves. Nothing will happen. That tells you who's the real stakeholder, right? So they are, so what's happened is that this is a self-serving system, and they want to keep it going just the way it has been going for the past 150 years. They don't want any changes. Changes are uncomfortable. Changes are painful. Just keep it going, keep the routine going. And because the other thing is that it also serves the system which wants Indians to be mentally colonized. Indians should remain mentally colonized. Indians should not become thinkers and leaders. Indians should be sheep. So this colonial system has been going on, and that's what they want to continue. So the new teachers that come out every 15, 20 years, they are themselves victims of this as children. And as when they grow up, they grow up with the same belief that the teachers put them in their heads. So it continues. So what needs to happen? See, the who controls and sustains the education system? We don't do it. The government does it. The government passes the rules. They regulate the education system. They decide the policies, and they issue the funding. And of course, there is this private education now, which has become a huge business. So in that case, it is all about money. So what needs to happen is that the government at some point in time needs to decide that the time is now right, that we revise and reform the education system. We make the citizens and the children the stakeholders, not the teachers. Today, the education system is essentially an employment generation scheme. The only purpose is to generate more employment for teachers, for staff, and to generate money for the owners of the private schools. The students are merely hostages and victims. So that attitude needs to change, and it will not change unless the government forces it to change. So unfortunately, it's not in our hands. The government has to do it. Hopefully one of these days it will happen, I guess. I hope so.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Sir, I read this very cute comment in one of your streams, sir, that
Uh-huh.
Abhijit ji is that one cool uncle we all wished we had. So thank you for being that cool uncle, sir.
Most welcome, sir. Most welcome. Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. All right. All right. Let's bring in somebody else. Okay. Let's bring in Shreyas. Hi, Shreyas.
Hi, sir. Am I
Hi.
audible?
Yes, yes. Don't be so serious. Relax.
Yeah. So I'm from
Where are you
Mumbai,
from?
Maharashtra.
Hmm.
Mumbai.
Okay. Okay.
So my question is very simple.
Yeah.
What is the invisible hand that you talk about? In coded.
Okay. Good question. So the invisible hand. So
Hmm.
this term, I did not coin it. This term was coined sometime in the middle of the 19th century. And guess who coined this term, invisible hand?
No
It
idea.
was the great Shri Karl Marx who coined this term. The great Marx, the great father of all the Marxists, he is the one who coined this term invisible hand. He said that there is an invisible hand that guides and controls world events. So all the governments and all these kingdoms and all these things, they are just the superficial aspect of what we see, but there is something deeper, hidden reality, a bunch of people who hold the true reins of power, who hold all the money, and who are controlling events from behind the scenes. That's what he said. Now, as we know, Karl Marx, whether we like him or not, he was not a conspiracy theorist. He was not a conspiracy theorist. He's in the West is one of the most respected thinkers. He's even considered to be one of the great philosophers of the West.
Sir, we had
So
him
you,
in 10th standard history textbook that, oh, he wrote Das Kapital,
wow,
blah, blah. This what
Das
shit.
Kapital, yes.
Absolute
Yes,
shit.
yes, yes. Good point. So the thing is, he was not a conspiracy theorist. So if he observed this, there must be some reality to it. And if there was an invisible hand in the 19th century, I'm sure it continued until the 20th century, and maybe it still exists in the 21st century. So what you see is that there is what you see. I mean, let me just make a joke.
Okay.
So some people allege this. This is an allegation made by conspiracy theorists. So you don't have to take it completely seriously. You can take it with a handful of salt. They say that conspiracy theorists say that when you are elected the president of the US, they take you to a room. They take you to a room where you get to finally meet the people who really run the country. That's what they say, conspiracy theorists. So that could be possibly what they mean by the invisible hand. And there could be a controlling force elsewhere also that is controlling global affairs, perhaps, possibly. That is the concept of the invisible hand, which has been around since at least the 19th century. Now, I had jokingly said that it is believed that the invisible hand speaks English. I had said
Yeah,
that
yeah,
jokingly,
yeah, yeah.
but I would say it's also possible that maybe the invisible hand speaks German or some European language. I'm not sure because I don't know, man. I'm just guessing if it even exists.
Does it
But
speak
that is the
Chinese?
concept. Not yet, because the Chinese have thus far not been anywhere. It's just the last 30 years that they've risen.
So
So
what
maybe a
about
hundred years
Communist
in the
Party of
future,
India? Communist Party of India from Kerala, they
the
have
Communist
links with
Party of India, I
China.
would say it is a bunch
They
of
have,
puppets.
of
They are
course.
merely mercenaries. They are not thought leaders, or they're not powerful enough. They simply act as spoilers within India, at the behest of what you could call invisible hand, or some fingers in the invisible hand.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right, sir.
Okay. Nice to meet you. Bye.
Nice to meet you. Good question.
Bye. Good
Invisible
night.
hand. Bye. Good night. Good night. Bye. Okay, let's bring in. Whom shall we bring in? Mr. Kushagra. Hello.
Hello, sir. Uh,
Hi.
my name is Kushagra. I'm from Germany, but
Mhm.
but I live in Punjab in India.
All right. All right. Nice to meet you, sir. What's your question?
Hello. Yeah, my question is related to the last question that you answered. It's like, do you think that Google and the current internet that we are using was a pilot project of US government or the intelligence agency? And what these companies like YouTube, Google, and Apple, what do these companies do with the data that they take it from us?
Good question. So what I can tell you is that the internet itself was a DARPA project. DARPA is the US equivalent of DRDO, but it is far superior to DRDO. DRDO and DARPA, they were founded in the same year. both in the same year. But DARPA has gone way, way, way ahead of DRDO because of various reasons. Now, so the DARPA scientists, the researchers there, they came up with this idea of interlinking computers across geographies and have these computers talk to each other. They called it ARPANET, ARPANET, ARPANET. And this ARPANET became the basis of what we now call the internet. So eventually, this system was expanded. Firstly, it was mainly defense computers. Then I think there was a network of academic computers in various universities. And eventually, it expanded to become a network of all computers connected globally. So that is the internet. So that is how the internet was born. It was, I think, in the 1960s or 70s or something that the first pilot testing was done. I don't remember the dates. You can look it up. Now, what I can say is this. Today, as you know, data is a precious commodity. Data is the new oil. I do not believe that Google or whatever was a US government pilot project. But what we do know is that it is located in the US. It's part of the US system, and therefore I am sure the US government must be in a position to use the data, to access the data and use it in various ways. This gentleman Edward Snowden had
Yes.
revealed something
Yeah.
called Prism. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Prism, what you had a synthesis of various data sources into one big picture, and you could see what's happening, what is the sentiment in any particular geography in the world at any given time, and you could even play on the sentiments and shape the sentiments and beliefs and feelings of people by trending certain hashtags or whatever, something like that. So that's what Prism was. That's like more than 10 years ago. Today there'll be something else much more advanced in place. I do not doubt that the Americans are good at this. And so that would essentially involve a synthesis of data from various sources, not only Google, but Amazon, YouTube, Bing, and various other things, which I'm just speculating. I don't have any actual information. It's just an educated guess. So that's what I can say. I can only make an educated guess that something like that may be there in place, must be there in place. I mean, if you have all access to all this information, why would you not use it? Anybody would do
Yeah,
that. I mean,
I
that's
saw
what
that
gives it
movie,
power.
the Snowden movie. In that, it was
Ah,
shown exactly like that, and that's why I think
right.
China doesn't have the firewall in their country to protect themselves from the USA
Yes.
and the other. Yes, yeah,
Yes,
that's the
yes.
thing.
You're right. Good question, sir.
Thank you. Have a nice day,
Nice
sir.
meeting you.
You're really good. I saw your first video in like 2020, Genghis Khan one, and that was really good. The books that you mentioned,
Thank you.
I have not read all of them, but they were really good. Thank you for just keep doing this work. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye. Okay. Shivam. Mr. Shivam. Hello. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Hello, sir.
Hello. Hello. How are you doing? Where are you
Can you
from,
hear
sir?
me?
Yes, yes. Okay, I guess you're not able to hear me, so we will bring you in later. Whom shall we bring in? Let's bring in Mr. Brutus. Brutus. Mr. Brutus.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Hi. I'm very
Can you hear
well.
me?
How are you doing? Where are you
Yeah,
from? Yes,
I'm from
yes.
Mumbai, sir. I guess I
Mhm.
have earlier asked you this question about Semiramis.
Mhm.
Do you remember?
Semiramis, the Assyrian queen, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Ah. Okay, you would like to know about her?
Yeah,
Okay,
yes,
so
sir.
so what I can tell you is not much. Semiramis was an Assyrian queen. I don't remember when she lived, maybe in the first or second millennium BC, maybe. She is, as far as I remember, the first woman to hold a significant position of power in this region, west of Persia. There may be parts of Persia in her kingdom. And she was the wife of one of the kings who died or something, and she was very powerful. She was the first woman, like I said, to hold the power and become an actual queen in her own right. And as far as the records are there, they seem to indicate that she attempted to go eastwards and try an invasion of India, which ended in a defeat. That the Indian king, whose identity I don't remember right now, He was able to defeat her forces, and she was forced to retreat and go back to her country. So that's what I can tell you in very brief
Hmm.
about her. I
Because
think the information you can read online. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I have read like she has bring around 4,000 horse and she just left around 20 to
Uh-huh.
go back. I have read this, but I don't know it is factual or not. So
Yeah, the records seem
yeah.
to indicate that she tried
Hmm.
invading India and she failed in that. Yeah.
But I can't find the name of the king whom she had fought.
That's something we need to look
Hmm.
into. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
I'll
you so
I'll try
much,
and
sir.
look into that.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
so
Nice
much, sir.
meeting you.
Your inspiration, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, let's bring in Mr. Chinmay. Chinmay ji. Good evening, sir. Good day, sir. Where are you,
Hello,
sir?
sir.
Hello, where are you from?
Sir, I am from Amravati district, Maharashtra.
Very nice to meet you, sir. Very nice to meet you.
Sir, my question is, sir, what
Mhm.
according to you is the best strategy to deal with the left-wing extremism in India? And why don't India conduct a surgical strike type of operation against the Naxalites, like I mean, bombing
Mhm.
by helicopters or aircrafts? Thank you.
Okay. Good question. So what I would say is this: they may be Naxalites, they may be criminals, but they are Indian citizens, and we should not bomb them. We should try to apprehend. See, this is not a military operation. This is a civilian problem. They may be bearing arms and all that. They may be doing that, but they're not Pakistanis. They're not foreigners. They are our own citizens. So we should at least give them a certain extra privilege as Indian citizens, that we will not bomb them from the air. We should not bomb uh, Indian citizens from the air. What I would say, what should be done? What should be done about these insurgents, terrorists, etc.? The first thing that needs to happen is cut off their sources of foreign funding. See, these people, they are getting funding from somewhere, they are being coordinated from somewhere, and they are getting arms and ammunition from somewhere. Identify these sources and cut off the funding, and ensure that funding, the source of the funding, is targeted and dealt with and neutralized. So most of these sources of funding, etc., they are outside of India. Historically, it's been like that. I mean, there have been books written about this, articles written about this. Most of these people are funded from abroad, whether it is from China, whether it is from Pakistan, or various other places, invisible hands, wherever it is. So find out where this is coming from and cut off the sources of funding. That itself will take care of 95% of the problem. Now, if something still persists, do a police action with CRPF or whatever, go and apprehend the criminals or terrorists, and then deal with them according to the Indian law. That's what I would suggest. So the problem, it has its roots in foreign funding. It is foreign actors who are funding and supporting insurgencies and terrorist activities within India. That is the entire Naxalite problem, the so-called red belt problem, which can be dealt with in this manner. I am sure. I mean, as we can see, before 2014, this was a huge problem in India. Very large portions of central India were not under the control of the Indian state, of the Indian government. Today, that problem has shrunk down. The cancer has shrunk because of chemotherapy to a very large extent. Now it is not that much prevalent in central India or other parts of India. You still have some of it. So I'm sure the government, if it who am I to tell them what to do? They know better than me, but that is the uh, way to go about it, I would say. Right?
So I think the response should be more humane.
As far as Indian citizens and non-military actors are concerned, we can have a more calibrated approach towards them.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure
Thank you.
talking
Nice
to you.
meeting you. Thank you. Say
Bye,
likewise.
sir.
Thank you. Bye. Okay. Let's bring in. Whom shall we bring in? Somebody who's been waiting for a while. Let's bring in Mr. Soumya Brata. Hello. I cannot hear you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Can't hear you. Hi.
Hello, sir. My question was about the Bangladesh Liberation War in 1971. As we have heard in our schools also, that Bangladesh Liberation War was an ethnocide and genocide conducted against the Bengal community. But if we see the statistics and many books written on it by an American journalist named, I'm the book name is The Blood Telegram, in which he informs
Yes.
that most of the people who were killed were from the Hindu community. And also,
Hmm.
when the Operation Searchlight started by the Pakistan army in the Dhaka and the village areas, most of the victims were Hindus, and only those Muslims were killed who supported the Hindus and the Awami League at that time. And also,
Yes.
we know that Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, before the formation of Awami League, he was the member of the Muslim League and was a close associate of the Suhrawardi gang.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
why this fact has been brushed under the carpet that it was an ethnocide, not a religious genocide? If you see, 20 million people out of 30 were Hindus only. That is what the question.
Hmm. Yes. The problem is that any atrocity against Hindus, it's always been the policy of the West to brush it under the carpet. The West, this is the thing is this is a clash of civilizations. Actually, our civilization has survived despite 1,000 years of brutalization and oppression, and they don't like it. According to them, what should have happened is that India should have been totally westernized. Indian culture, civilization should have been wiped out, and we should have been become part of their market that they can sell things to. And so the thing is that if you look at the Western academics, they have a policy of deriding and expressing contempt towards Indian culture. It's a policy. All the Anglophile, English speaking Western academics have this policy that even if you're teaching Indian history, you have to distort it, show it from a certain perspective, and you must make fun of Hinduism. You have to be contemptuous towards Hinduism and Indian culture. That's been their policy. And this is simply in line with the policy to kind of water down whatever atrocities happened against Hindus, whether it is in Bangladesh or whether it is in the past 1,000 years of Indian history. Also, I mean, if you look at the past 1,000 years of Indian history, I can assure you that at least 100 million Indians must have died, or maybe 500 million years over 1,000 years. But that is not recognized in any textbook, in any history book, anywhere in the world. Right? The British themselves killed at least 100 million Indians. Mostly were Hindus, right? Because of their artificially engineered famines. Now, in the Bangladesh genocide, the official figures are
Sir,
1.5 million. Is it?
sir, my far distant relative who used to live in Bangladesh, Barishal district, he was
Mhm.
uh, attacked by the Pakistani army, his family, and the
Mhm.
local collaborators of the Pakistani Al Badr Islamist group was a Bengal Islamic fundamentalist group who supported that group. So basically, there
Mhm.
were many Bengali Muslims who were supporting Pakistan army and targeting
Yes.
Hindus specifically. The
Yes. So
skeletons have
that is
been
the other
discovered.
reason. Yeah. So that's the other reason. Lots of Bangladeshis were collaborators in this, and many of them became prominent politicians and local leaders, etc. after 1971. And because of
Yeah,
that,
sir.
it was also good for them to kind of suppress all the truth about what happened in 1971. That all of them were collaborating with the Pakistani army and in conducting this genocide of Hindus. I think the figure of 1.5 million Hindus is actually an underrepresentation of what must have really happened. Right? The
And
actual figure must be much higher.
Also in Dhaka, recently few skeletons have been found, and those skeletons are identified as Bengali Hindus who were killed by the Pakistani army.
There must be many more
This is also
skeletons under the carpet. Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
sir.
that's the policy. Yeah. So good question and nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah,
Tanish,
so
hi.
can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Where are you from?
Yeah. So I'm from Maharashtra and I'm living in Bangalore. Yeah.
Hmm.
So my question is like India is on the wrong path. Like we need to get it on the right path. Like we need to do many reforms. Like get it to the civilizational route. So for all that we need a dictatorship. So we need a
Hmm.
dictator. So
Okay.
so in the future, if we get like a good leader, he has to become a dictator. But then when he
Hmm.
tries to do that, India will become destabilized. So
Hmm.
whenever a country becomes destabilized, like the other countries can take like advantage of that. Like China can do some war or something. So how
Hmm.
can someone become a dictator without destabilizing the country, or like should he be like the invisible hand of India?
Uh, Very interesting question. So first of all, I would not say that I am in favor of a dictator or something X or Y or Z. What I would say is that whatever works best, try that. Whether it is a monarchy, whether it's a dictatorship, whether it's democracy, A form of democracy or B form of democracy, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color the cat is, as long as it catches mice. So what we need is India needs to rise again. India needs to rise to its historical position of at least one third of the world's GDP. Right, that's the first thing. And India should be it should have long term security and prosperity. That is what we seek. Now, let's say hypothetically that you want to install a dictator in India, so that it becomes easier to reach this position. Hypothetically, so if somebody tries to be a dictator, they're going to face opposition. That's just the way of the world. Now, how does one become a dictator despite all of this opposition? How do you do it? Look at history. Look at examples in history in the past 1000 years. How did, in the past 1000 years, in any country in the world, how did, let's say you have people like Napoleon, you have people like Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, you have people like Chinggis Khan. How did these people rise from nothing, assume the reins of power, and succeed to whatever extent they succeeded? If you study their life history and whatever tactics and strategies they used, you will understand how a dictator can rise, consolidate power, and take the country forward. So if you study history, you will get all the answers. I cannot give you all the details because it will take a lot of time. There are lots of things that a person needs to overcome in order to rise to that status. So the last such example, successful example, would be Mustafa Kemal Ataturk in Turkey. Is there any other more recent successful example? I'm not quite sure. Maybe there is, and maybe there's not. Let's see. But that's what I can say, that the world history offers you all the lessons you need. So, these principles of power, they are timeless principles. You can adapt them for any time period, whether it is 5000 BC or the 21st century. The principles remain the same, but you have to adapt them according to the local time frame and the situation. All right, sir.
Yes. So that's it.
All right. Thank you. Good question. Bye. Okay. Mr. Devi Prasanna. Hello.
Yes, sir. Hello. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you, sir. Nice to see you. Where are you from?
Sir, I am from Odisha and I live in Bhubaneswar actually. And
beautiful.
I'm so glad to finally I have a chance to talk to you. It was really a race clicking in that to join this room and to get a chance to talk with you, because I mean, I've been watching you for almost 2 years now, and it's really educational, because all that fairy tales that we have read from our history NCERT books, all those things, and the real history when we read from other books like the Saffron Swords and the books that you recommend, those are really educational. And I actually had a question when this when this podcast started, but my mind stuck in a question which someone asked before, that was about the sati pratha that India faced during that British era. But actually, no one talks about the truth that Salem witch trials, the things that happened in Europe, and they burned the women and called them witches. Something also happened in like that in Russia too. So I want to know why those things are suppressed and the sati pratha is spoke around, because there it was a huge problem. Now we see it in some in some TV series and some episodes. I want to know your views in this.
Very good question. So very good question. So it's like this. If you look at the number of women that were burned forcibly alive as witches in Europe, it would far exceed the real cases of sati in India, which were all voluntary. You may have a handful of cases in India, real hard recorded evidence, just a handful of cases. In the case of Europe, you had, I don't know, tens or hundreds of thousands of, maybe tens of thousands of women who were burned alive forcibly as witches. Now, why is that not emphasized, and why are they keeping on lying about India? It's very simple. The world doesn't work on the basis of principles and truth. We keep on shouting the slogan Satyamev Jayate. The world doesn't work like that. The world works on the basis of Asatyamev Jayate, propaganda Jayate. That's what happens. People will speak untruths and lies to further their self-interest. Now in the West, what they wanted, and this what they still want, is they want to eradicate Hinduism and Indian culture from India, and they want to spread their culture here, and they want Indians to first feel that Indian culture is primitive, it is backward, it is barbaric, misogynistic. So that's why they keep on spreading these lies about the so-called sati pratha. It was not a pratha, it was a very rare thing. But what they did to their women, they will just try to brush it under the carpet because it is very inconvenient, right? Because that is a hard fact that they cannot deny. So instead of denying it, they will just not talk about it. And if they don't talk about it, then nobody will come to know. See, for us Indians, it is most of us don't even know that they had this practice of burning women as witches, and they had this horrific misogynistic culture. In some parts of Europe, until the 1990s, women did not have the right to vote. In some parts of Europe, until the 1990s, women did not have the right to vote. Can you believe
Yeah,
it?
and that's where the
Until recently.
feminism concept started, I think.
Exactly. So it is all hypocrisy. So what we need to do is, instead of getting emotional, I'm not saying you are being emotional, I'm saying all of us, we Indians are a very emotional people. So I'm just saying in general, let's not be emotional. Let's seek out all the facts. The facts are in our favor. They are the ones who are lying. They are the ones who are trying to suppress the truth about their horrific past. Let's just all speak about it. Go to Twitter, go to Facebook, go wherever you are active on social media, and tweet about it twice a day. Let's see now how they will hide this. So that's what needs to happen. The world, unfortunately, is not a place where truth wins. Propaganda always wins. But if all of us get together and we all speak the truth in unison, then their propaganda will fail. So that's what we need to do.
Yes,
Okay,
also
sir.
that all those sexual harassment cases are more in Europe than in India, but still
Yeah.
we feel ourselves that more number of sexual that our country is more backward. But
That's
in the
propaganda.
other case around, it is the truth.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
Sir,
Agreed.
thank you so much, sir. And sir, actually, my original question was to ask you about the NEP, the National Education Policy, but I'm sorry, you can
Next
only
time.
take one
Next time. No problem.
question. So, if you can just share something. Thank
It's
you.
a very big policy. I think it's not really effective. That's what I can tell you. We need better reforms. Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. I think our
Nice
history
meeting you. Very
textbooks
nice
needs to
meeting you.
be replaced. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, I agree.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Bye. Okay. Whom shall I bring in? I shall bring in Mr. Shashank. Hello.
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar, Shashank. Namaskar. Where are you from?
I am from Delhi, sir, and
All right.
I'm your huge fan, sir. I am following you from
Thank you.
last,
Thank you.
4 to 5 years at least, and I told my parents and families also to watch you because what they taught us,
Thank you.
what they are taught in the school. So and they are really satisfied with your conclusion and answers, sir. I have a doubt
Thank you so
from
much.
the Mahabharat, sir. One of your videos I watched, and you said that regarding the Dronacharya on Eklavya and all, and I agree on that. What have you said that Dronacharya did to the Eklavya and all, but on the Karna part, you said that Karna wasn't great, and this struck my mind, sir. But his deeds are all famous after becoming king. His loyalty to his friend Duryodhan, in spite of being he knows that I am the son of Kunti, and then also he didn't revolted against the empire that dethroned his minds. Many none of the Draupadi incidents. I'm not with that Karna part, but apart from that Karna sacrificed a lot, and even he spared the life of the Pandyas, and even the Krishna also told to Arjun that it's I who saved you from the Karna, otherwise, and the Hanuman's flag
Yes, sir.
on
What's your question?
chariot. So my question was, you said that the Karna wasn't great, sir. So on what aspect you are saying that Karna
Okay,
wasn't great,
I get
sir?
it. Okay. So,
Yes,
so
sir.
I'll tell you this. See, there is no doubt that he was a very good warrior, better than most warriors, better than 99.9% of warriors, right? He was an elite class warrior, really, really strong person, very good archer, very good warrior, no doubt about it, right? But that is not all there is to a human being. A good human being has to be well rounded. It is very clearly mentioned in the Mahabharata that he was a rude person, he was short tempered, he was abusive to people. So that is a drawback which, let's say, Arjun did not have. The second thing is, like you said, he was a loyal person, right? He was loyal to to Duryodhan. Now tell me something, sir. Are you supposed to be loyal to your friend even though he is evil, or are you supposed to be loyal to dharma?
No, I will
Are you
supposed to be loyal
supposed
to
to
the
take the side of the dharma,
but
or are you supposed to take the side of your friend who is evil?
but at in the Mahabharata also, it's Duryodhan who supported him in all the instances when the Pandavas discriminated him after
No,
calling
no,
him
no,
Sut
no, no,
Putra.
no discrimination. What discrimination? Please. Okay, let's see. What is the what example do you have of discrimination?
Sut Putra and all of these that
But ठीक है,
he
सूत पुत्र
won't
है.
give.
See, it's like this. It's like this. There is this tournament. Okay, there is this archery tournament that's going on. It is a tournament for the royal princes. Correct? Let's go. Let's examine. Let's imagine the situation. Okay, you are in England, and the sons of the king are practicing archery. Now, let's say a carpenter's son comes there and says, "Bhai, mujhe bhi, let me also participate." What's going to happen?
No,
What's
sir.
going to happen?
I agree on your point. But after some time, when he knew that he is the son of the Kunti, and even after that, he didn't tell anyone, and told anyone about his truth. And despite of that, he fought under the rule of Duryodhan. So wasn't he was sacrificing? And the second more point, even the
See, it's like this.
Pandavas
See, it's
also,
like this.
yes, sir.
See, it's like this, sir. Life is not always fair. Life is not fair. If you believe that everybody is going to go by the rules and be principled and all that, you're not going to have a good life. I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm saying to everybody that life is not fair. You will face injustice in life. People will not act according to certain principles that you believe in. People are going to be unjust to you. People will be unfair to you. But does it mean that you should take the side of adharma? Or does it mean that you should still be steadfast and follow dharma? It's the only simple choice that Karna had, and unfortunately he took the side of the Kauravas and injustice, and that's what happened to him. That's what I can say from a big picture perspective. If you want to go into every detail, we can speak for hours, but that's not what
No,
this
no,
is,
sir.
right?
Okay,
So
thank you so much, sir. But I have just one point, sir. Even the Pandavas also,
yeah.
when they, in the game of dice, when what they
Huh.
did to the Draupadi, that was also not acceptable, and that was also
I
not
agree with you. I agree with you. You are 100% right. What Yudhishthir did, do you know? Let me explain something. When the war ended, what did Shri Krishna say to the Pandavas? Go to the Himalayas and spend whatever life is left over there. None of you deserves to be the king. Yudhishthir was a compulsive gambler, a man who gambled away his brothers and his family and his wife. Did a person like him deserve to be king? He was not worthy of being the king. You are right. Your point is 100% valid. Arjun was a great warrior, but when the time came for him to fight, he was like, I can't fight. Was he deserving of being a king? No. These are the lessons of the Mahabharata. These are the true lessons of the Mahabharata. So we have to learn that and we have to understand that. So even the
Thank you
Pandavas
so
were
much.
wrong in many places. Right?
Yes, sir. Thank
Nice
you so much.
question. Nice talking
Namaskar.
to you, sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you too. Bye. Okay. Shivam is very enthusiastic. Let's bring in Mr. Shivam. Hi. Can't hear you. Namaskar.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste. Shivam ji, where are you from?
I'm from Mumbai.
Nice to meet you. What's your question?
Nice to talk to you, sir.
Hmm.
So I have a question. I've written it.
Okay.
So, in your opinion, like if we become a capitalist country, a capitalist society, instead of being a mixed economy, so would India reach the status of Sone ki Chidiya? And how many years it will take? And will the new entrepreneurial wave help it? Like,
capitalism is a very quick way of getting very prosperous, as we can see with the Americans and all. Especially if you have predatory capitalism and capitalistic imperialism. If you practice all these various policies in conjunction together, then you will get very prosperous very quickly at the expense of other countries and at the expense of the planet. because capitalism is about quarter upon quarter profit. Every quarter your company must show profit, and this is a never ending cycle of profit. You have to
Right.
continuously be profitable on. So it is about infinite profits on a finite planet. What's going to happen? It's going to destroy the planet because we are plundering the planet for resources, right? So capitalism in the short term is going to make any country that does it properly very rich,
Like
but
America.
like America. But see what they have done to the planet. The entire state of the planet is because of what the West has done. And the Americans, essentially, what is America? It is the continuation of the British Empire. The British had this downfall, but the Americans are the descendants of the British and they took it forward. So that is the continuation of the British Empire. They have this global empire today, whether you like it or not. That's what it is. It's called a superpower, but that is a euphemism for an imperial power. So that's
Yeah,
what the US is.
because they sell their weapons like to
Everything.
any other
Yeah.
country to reach
Yeah.
their goal. So,
And
but
when you
how
sell,
can we
yeah.
reach that Sone ki chidiya status?
So at this state, at this where we are right now, we have to pursue, unfortunately, the same policies. We have to develop entrepreneurship, industrialization, manufacturing, all those things.
Okay.
And hopefully, once we reach a certain status, we can maybe change the way of doing things to be more sustainable and let the planet live longer, I would say. So, but at
Yeah.
this stage, the way the world works, we have to work within those parameters. The entire global system is such that you can succeed currently only with capitalism. There is no other way out. So if India wants to rise, it has to play by the same rules. That's what I can
Just
say.
like America.
Yes, hopefully.
Okay. Okay. Thank you,
All right.
sir.
Thank you.
Can you just say my family a hi? They are watching your program on the TV in the dining room.
Hi to everybody from Shivamji's family. Namaste. Nice to see you all.
Namaste, sir.
Take care. Bye. Okay, let's bring in Mr. Rahul, who has been waiting patiently. Hello, Ji. Good evening. Good day. I
Good
can't hear
evening,
you.
sir.
Good evening. Good
Sir,
evening,
yeah,
Rahul. Where are you from?
I am from Bengaluru, sir.
Bangalore. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
What's your question?
my question is that because most of them is saying that the Western scholars will be saying about the Aryan invasion, they came from
I'm
Europe
not
or
able to.
something like that.
It's not clear. The sound is not clear, unfortunately.
Sir, my question is that most of the Western scholars will be saying about the Aryan invasion theory is true and all the things. So, but according my understanding is that everyone knows that first life was originated in Africa. When the life originated in Africa at that time, the Indian subcontinent, Indian continent, Australia, South America, every continent was joined together at that time. So
Rahul, I'm really sorry. Your voice is not clear at all. I'm not able to understand. So I really apologize, but it's not audible properly. So what
Sir,
I'm going to
now,
do? Hello.
so now is it audible?
Yes, now it is audible. You have done something right. Yes, sir.
Oh,
Please go ahead.
okay. So my question is my question. I can't say what it is, but because most I'm feeling nervous.
Don't be nervous.
So,
Relax. It's just me.
sir, my question is that I want to know about the Caucasian race. Where did they come from? Because my understanding is that the Caucasian people are the people of Indian descent who settled in Caucasus Mountain, and they invaded most of the Europe. And Europe is completely Vedic land. They may say that because of due to Christianity we are civilized. No, no, never. Because it is the Vedic thing. Still, you can find the words of Vedas in Europe. So according to me, Caucasian are the people of which are of Indian descent. So what's your opinion on that? Our answer for that?
Okay. So what is the origin of the Caucasian race is the question. See, first of all, the concept of race is pseudo-scientific. There is no such thing as a race. There is no such thing as a pure race. There is no such thing as the boundary between one race and another race. Even the concept of species is kind of blurry, right? So what I can say is this: the origin of the people of Europe. If you look at the genetic history of Europe, you will find that most Europeans, especially in Western Europe, are the descendants of the so-called Yamnaya invaders who invaded Europe from the east about 5,000 years before today. And if we look at the genetics of these so-called Yamnaya people, you will find a certain lineage, a certain patrilineal lineage, which is passed on from father to son over thousands of years. And this patrilineal lineage or haplogroup is called R1b. Now, if you look at the history of R1b, you will find that it originates in India, which kind of tells you that these Yamnaya people were originally people who went out of India at some point in time, a few thousand years before today. And then they
That's my
eventually
point.
ended up invading and conquering Europe and changing the genetic history of Europe. So that's the origin of the Europeans. Of course, there is other genetics also involved in that. The skin color keeps changing. Now, again, skin color, if you look at the origin of the fair skin color, the white skin color, that genetic mutation also originates in India, strangely enough. So in India, you find all kinds of different variations. In Europe, you find uniformity of skin color, more or less. Yes, sir.
Because the explanation I will give why it is the Indian origin itself, because where India was not originally, it was an Asian continent, right? At the time, India had some tectonic moment.
Yes.
Yes, from
So,
colliding,
so
I
let's
can see
understand.
the
Let's
result.
let's 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 understand tectonics. Tectonics takes hundreds of millions of years to happen. The movement from Africa to Asia of the Indian subcontinent took at least 100 million years. The human species, Homo sapiens, is not even a million years old. So there is no connection with Africa, right? The history of the human
Okay,
species of Homo sapiens is less than 250,000 years old, or maybe 300,000 years old. That's it. So it has nothing to do with tectonics. There is no relation. All right.
okay, sir. Thank you. So another thing is that it's not a question or something. Who are watching in this in your podcast, I want to say that because most of them have this confusion about the concept known as dharma, because they'll be confused. Oh, what is my dharma? How to do it? Whatever I can do. So my understanding of dharma is that the mind full of intellect and the body full of spirit and the soul full of devotion creates dharma. Because Karna, his mind was completely what is that he was not unsure about doing the supporting Duryodhana. His mind was completely far away from what he was doing, so he was disturbed in his mind, so he became adharmi. That's
Okay.
what my understanding about this is.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your views. Thank you.
It
Take
is
care, sir.
my
Take care.
understanding of dharma. Thank you, sir.
I get it. I get it. All right. Thank you. Nice meeting you, sir. Take care. Bye. Okay. Let's bring in somebody else. Okay. Let's bring in Mr. Rishabh.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Rishabh ji. How are you from? Where are you from? How are you doing?
So I'm from Indore, Madhya Pradesh, and currently I'm in US.
Nice. Very good.
And sir, my question is about Vikramaditya. Sir, it is said that his empire was India spread through India, Saudi Arabia, and even some parts of Russia also, and it was covered in Iran. Some parts of Iran was also there, and so why our history book does not tell about that? And currently, the current government, it is said that it's a right wing government, so why they are not changing the syllabus of history? It's been almost 10 years they are in the power.
Okay. Yeah, good question. See, first of all, I have no idea what the government is planning to do and why did they do certain things. They don't do certain things. I am not privy to what goes on in the what the plans are and all that. So I cannot answer on their behalf. Maybe we should ask the minister of whoever is in charge of that. So I cannot answer on their behalf. Now, when it comes to Emperor Vikramaditya, there is a lot of ambiguity. There is a lot of confusion about the identity of this great emperor. Clearly, we have this this story that does not go away, that we had a great emperor called Vikramaditya who had a great empire, and there is a Samvat era also named after him. So, and our historians, they claim that this is a mythical emperor. He did not exist in reality. That's what they claim. I think that's nonsense. I think this great emperor must have existed, but the problem is we don't know exactly when he existed. We don't, because the historians and archaeologists have not done their job. That's why we don't have a way of pinpointing when he would have been in power in India, at what in what historical period he would have been in power.
It is said he
Yes,
was
sir?
before Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't want to mix him up with Jesus and all that. I will relate him to various other Indian eras of history. Yeah, like you said, he most likely was before the AD period, but we don't have sufficient information about him to make a proper assessment of when he lived, where his capital is supposed to be Ujjain, I believe, most likely.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, Ujjain. Yeah, but we also don't know how big the empire was. People make various claims, but we don't have hard, unambiguous evidence. And that's why it's almost impossible for me to say whether it's true or not that he had this big empire which went all these places or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
All I can say is on the basis of evidence, I will give you answers, but we don't have evidence.
Yes, it is said that his empire was still Turkey also, and there is one library named there was famous scholar in Turkey, and he said that whoever lived at that period was a golden era. So from that we can conclude that his empire was
We
still
cannot conclude
Turkey.
anything. We cannot make conclusions without evidence. Now they say there is a library in which there is a book which says that. Where is the book? Show me the book. Show me a photograph. Why doesn't anyone show me? I have not seen a single photograph or picture of this book where it says so and so and so. Without that sort of evidence, how can we make conclusions?
No, sir.
Maybe they're trying to hide it, sure.
Yeah.
But we have not seen the evidence.
Yeah. He's I'm forgetting his name, but he has said that's why. So, sir,
Yeah, but we don't have evidence.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
So it's like this. I can also make a claim that so and so was great and all, but it is just words of mouth. It's just hearsay. It is not hard evidence. There is a difference between somebody making a claim and somebody substantiating a claim with evidence that is tenable in a court of law, for instance. That is hard evidence, right? So we don't have that, unfortunately. I don't believe that he's a mythical emperor, but I don't have sufficient evidence. That's all.
But he has the big empire. We can say that. And
no.
Sir.
On what basis do we say that? What basis do we say that?
Sir. Yeah, sir.
Okay, right.
Sir. Yeah, sir.
So that's what I can say. All right. Yeah. Nice meeting you, sir.
Yeah.
Take care. I may have time for one last question. Let's bring in Mr. Chandrakant. Hello.
Hello, sir. So I'm from Bangalore, and I have this question regarding the academia, academia throughout the world. As in, it is already left-leaning, and I had gone through recent documents and a few talks as well that say that there is already a preordained kind of way that the humanitarian research goes on. Like they want to push their agenda by asking certain questions while doing research. They want to tease out a certain answer that already supports their pre-existing beliefs or whatever they want to say, and that their research is actually passive. Like, how do we, as a developing country which already has such things, such views, pushed on us, and how do we come out of it? Like, how do we make research such that we come out of such point of views and look at issues as it is, rather than having a preset thought behind it?
Yeah, I get it. Yes, right. That's a very good question. So what needs to happen is we need to reform our academic system, which is part of the larger education system. The academia is essentially the highest level of the education system, which is their college and university level research work. That's what it is. So we need to decolonize this and reform it. So right now what happens is that there is this entrenched mafia in the academic system. There is this stranglehold of leftist academics in all the humanities departments, and it's even going into the IITs and everything right now. So that's what's existing right now. What needs to happen is we need to decontaminate academia, remove all the Marxist academics, whether they like it or not. I'm saying remove them from their positions. I'm not saying remove them from anything else. And we need to have better standards. We need to ensure that the university system, it is research oriented, not teaching oriented. Teaching should happen, of course, but there should be research and genuine original research. There should be high standards. Promotions and all that needs to be done on the basis of performance and research, not your seniority or whatever it is today. And nobody should have a guaranteed job for life, because that makes them entrenched forever. So we need a systematic set of reforms in place in the academic system, especially in the universities where the research comes from, where all the books are written and all that. So all that needs to be done properly with good planning in a systematic manner. We need to decontaminate the academic system. We need to ensure that all the sources of foreign funding are removed, because all of these academics are funded by foreign sources. So these things need to happen. If we do that, then we will have a new crop of academics and researchers who look at the world from without these blinkers, with a clear view. And then the research will be done on the basis of facts and logic, and not on the basis of ideology, which is what's happening right now.
What entails this also is that the fact that the Western research is more passive compared to what our civilizational research was. Because even if you look at, I have read a partial transcript of Rig Veda. It says, and the way the research goes in that is rather constructive compared to what what West does now. Because West takes up a research already done. They have that view, and then upon that, the research only to confirm the already existing research. But it was not so in our civilization. Like everything was constructive. Even if you look at Adi Shankaracharya, you compare his works to his predecessors' works, it was totally deviant. Like it was completely new. Such sort of things have to be. Yeah, I think that sort of constructive research needs to be brought back to our nation or land. I hope so. At least it happens in the future. What's your opinion on that?
I agree with you.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the question. It's a great opportunity.
Thank you so much. Nice meeting you. Bye. All right. Let's bring in Mr. Vedant, one person who's been waiting for a very long time. Last person for today. How are you, sir?
Nice, sir. I was trying from.
Yes, sir. Where are you from?
Also, from Aurangabad.
Sorry? Okay. Yeah, what do I think?
Sir, I have too many questions, but first I would like to ask. That is, talking about Kailash Parvat. If we see Kailash Parvat on Google Maps, so it comes under China. So it is popular because of Hinduism culture. But then also why it comes under China, and by any time we can reconquer it.
Okay, good question. So the question is, why does the great sacred mountain, Mount Kailash, why is it currently controlled by the Chinese Communist Party? That's the question. You know why it's like that? It's because the world is not fair. The world doesn't work on the basis of justice, truth, and principles. The world obeys only one law, the law of the jungle. The big fish will eat the small fish. That's what happens. So, according to truth, righteousness, and justice, Kailash Parvat should be part of India. It should be under Indian control. But it is currently controlled by the Chinese. So what should we do? We need to get stronger economically and militarily. And we need to then, at the right time, reincorporate that territory into India, or otherwise we can free Tibet and keep it under Tibetan jurisdiction. That's what needs to happen. So if you want to get justice, you have to first make sure that you get strong enough and powerful enough to make your own justice for yourself. If you just keep on begging, pleading, please give me justice, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. So that's what India needs to learn. That's what the people of India need to learn. There is no justice in the world. There is no fairness in the world. The world is a harsh place. If you want what you deserve, strengthen yourself, empower yourself, and then you will get it. Otherwise, you will never get it. That's how it works. All right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Good question. Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Nice meeting you. Bye. Okay, ladies, gentlemen, I can see many people trying to raise their hands. Okay. Okay, Srikanji, last person. Last and final. Where is he?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm from Bangalore, but I'm doing my master's in astrophysics here. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, I live in Germany currently. And I really want
Excellent.
your thoughts on this. Initially, when I came into Germany and I started studying in this system, I found it really hard to understand the math and physics behind it because the scale of teaching is very different than what we learn in India. But the profound difference I found between us and people like Germans and Japanese, they learn fundamental mathematics and physics in their mother tongue. So their thought process is very, very clear, and they just have to translate it to another language. But in our case, we have to think in a language that is not ours. So do you think we should start teaching all these things in the native languages of the various states, such that we are firm in our thinking, and English should only be a medium of translation? What are your thoughts on this? I really would like to know.
This is an excellent question. I am of the firm let's look at history. If we look at the period before 1500 AD, all of the scientific advancements, all of the scientific knowledge, astronomical knowledge, it all came from India via Arabia into Europe. Then they translated into Latin, and that's how they were able to build up what is known today as modern science and technology. Right. So all of the fundamental work, whether it is algebra, trigonometry, calculus, astronomy, whatever, was done in Indian languages, mostly Sanskrit.
Yeah.
And right. So the argument that is made is that English is the language of science and technology. Without English, we will not be able to do science. What nonsense! All of the science was done in Sanskrit and in Indian languages, in the Kerala School of Mathematics and whatnot. So what I firmly believe is that all of these concepts should be taught in the mother tongue of the child, always. That is the fastest and most effective way to learn anything, especially mathematics, especially logic, especially science. It has to be taught in the mother tongue. Then see how many geniuses come out of India. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, that's I just wanted to comment because when I was learning cosmology here, right now they're teaching about this Big Bang, but there is not much evidence leading further in that direction. So now I've seen papers coming out which says our universe is a bouncing model, but we already have in our literature that our universe exists as a Brahma day and a Brahma night, how it comes into life, and people are not willing to accept that this stems from Indian culture and Indian like literature, and now they are like, this is a novel idea, this is the way research should proceed, and I find it funny. So yeah, that's what. Thank you so much for
very
this.
Indeed, very good point that you've made, and I agree that all these concepts were first conceived of in India. They are looking to our text for inspiration, and then they are saying we have discovered this is a new idea. What nonsense! Very good point. Very good.
Thank
nice
you so
meeting
much.
You.
Yeah, nice meeting you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of today's session. Very interesting session. I'm very glad to see new faces. Very, very interesting. Let's keep doing this. I apologize to those of you who are waiting, but this is truly the end for today. So let's keep doing this. I hope to meet all of you, and I hope to give all of you a chance to speak to me in the forthcoming sessions. So take care, and I will see you very soon again. Take care. Bye.